Some people ask, well, how do I be with the tragedies in the world? And I have to be honest. I operate on different levels, and there's a mix. And I don't proclaim that how I am with things is right or wrong, but how I'm with things feels like a fit for my incarnation, for the expression called Mukti. And so we each can return to what's unique and genuine to us, what just really feels authentic for us. And so for me, um, I happen to be a person. So I'm going to talk about the superficial level, then I'll talk about the deeper waters. And I don't mean anything belittling by superficial, I just mean the surface. So on the surface level, I'm a person that from a very young age was not so interested in the world news. And I was, very involved in service in my community and amongst my friends. I'd be kind of called like a giver. And I, so I was very much engaged in the needs of others and very aware by most standards of the needs of others. Very sensitive. I often could like kind of second guess what people would need and bring it to them or provide it if I could. But at the same time, I wasn't so interested in what was like in the media, what was happening on the world stage. I would hear about it and sometimes become quite overwhelmed on the emotional, because I was a very emotionally based person. So, what I recognized in myself was that I could only take so much news in. And to this day, that's fairly true for me. I can only take in so much news. And it's not that I don't care. It's just that I figured out I'm what seems to work for my makeup. And so I don't follow the world news as much as other people that I know. And at the same time, I participate in what's happening in the world in my own way. And so I'm the kind of person that will spend some good amount of time within in these deeper waters. And so I don't necessarily do the following every day, although I pray for the world every day and I pray for very specific things every day. And I'll tell you what I mean by my version of prayer in a moment. But this first version of what I'm going to share, I'll do at certain junctures in the week and the month. And what I do, I in large part learned from the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, but I've made them my own. So what I'm about to say is not necessarily what Yogananda would say. But I will visualize different, let's say, I'll visualize different parts of the Middle East or the Ukraine, and I'll visualize those in my mind's eye. And in the quiet of my being, I'll enter into these waters of stillness and peace, which, by the way, they're not just below the neck, but that's kind of a nice way of talking about waters that are deeper. But there's a way that I'll just attune that within the energetics of the environment as a whole, I'll attune and track on specifically to the quiet and the peace that's just behind the sounds that are, bubbling up and passing away, or just the stillness within the movement. So there's almost like this backdrop or this stillness that expresses as movement. And so I'll just be like attuning to how I am hooked up to feel and sense these qualities of this unconditional stillness, silence, and freedom from particular expressions of what's happening in the soup of the moment. So I'll be attuning to those, and I'll be visualizing a place, and I'll be holding both in my awareness and just having in my heart this feeling of offering this peace and this great potency of intelligence that is so far and eternally capable of rectifying and bringing about harmony. So I'm offering the light of my consciousness to illuminate and turn up the volume. Not that I'm thinking all these things like I'm going to turn up the volume on presence but it's kind of how I'm describing what's happening is our very attention increases and intensifies the qualities of this field of peace and stillness and quietude that can express as chaos, but in its fundamental essence is not necessarily called chaos. It's more usually called peace at its essence. And so this holding of both in my felt sense seems to bring these together. And I've done these things for individuals. I'll hold a person in my mind's eye and they'll report that they feel it. And I've had others do it for me, or I'll do it with my own emotions or things that feel off or, troublesome, and just let them dunk in those waters of peace.